the adult center and whatnot to a new location here in Canby. We believe that this is probably going to take a couple years still to complete. But in conversation with Eileen, we wanted to kind of vet some of the pieces or questions that may be on the council's mind that staff can start working towards getting answers to. So basically, like the big questions that I've been asking of Eileen and staff is, what are we, based on the fact that that was a block grant, what does that mean for any changes that would occur? Are we still obligated to follow that block grant because considering how many years it's been? Does it, and what, if we do, what does that space need to be or have to be? And then it led into other conversations about just what do we do with that space anyways. We own the building, but not the dirt. Again, that ongoing conversation. So that's really what tonight is in terms of conversation about the adult center building, is just that, like, what questions do we have that we want answers to, so staff can start working on that over the next coming month and year.
The only thing I'll add to that, Mayor, is that I learned today that there are a couple of land use actions that are going on in relation to the relocation already. So
There's already what going on?
Land use actions.
Okay.
So the Canby United Methodist Church is working on a lot partition. So there's parcel 1 and parcel 2. The Methodist Church is keeping parcel 2. They're selling parcel 1 to the Canby Adult Center.
Okay.
So that lot needs to be split. The other thing that is happening is that a conditional use permit for locating in an R1 zone has to be given as well.
Okay.
So those are two actions that are happening currently.
Currently, okay.
Right. But the rest of it is just, what do you all want us to look into? What thoughts do you have? You just heard the news on July 17th, and so you've had a couple weeks to think about it if you have. And really, that's, in the time that we have left, that's all I want to do is just kind of do some brainstorming.
Yeah, we're not looking to make a decision on what we want to do with the building now. There's still time, but that time will go by really quickly. So yes, Councilor Davis.
Well, just
Nice
what,
haircut, by the way.
thank you. So just what you've already asked or mentioned, what can we do?
Yeah.
Because we need to have that answered, as far as what our options are with that block grant, as far as the usage and things like that. The other part would be, I think it's part of a bigger picture too, that we need to continue to work with the school district to see about purchasing that property so that then there's no questions that we don't put a lot of money into the current adult center building. And so my want would be to have the city administrator continue to work with the school district and look at the purchase of that entire property.
Yeah,
Yes, please.
I emailed Eileen a few weeks ago.
Microphone.
Sorry, thank you. Probably going to get a text from Gordon now. I got it on now, Gordon. I emailed her as well as, I think I included Jim on the email because he's the Parks liaison. Just now that we have a new school superintendent, I feel like this is a good time to reopen those conversations about that property. And so I'd like to flush that out. And as we already mentioned, find out what our limitations, restrictions, or benefits are with the block grants. Also, we need to discuss the allocation of ARPA funds.
That's what, yes.
Because we gave them $500,000 for their kitchen upgrade and such, and I'm thinking that if we wanted to, we need to rethink that. I mean, obviously, that $500,000 shouldn't follow the entity, it should stay with the building, but if we wanted to have a discussion about a neighborly gesture like we did with Cub, then that would be discussion we should have.
Yeah, you may recall Kathy's request was that it go with them. as opposed to staying with the building. So
Right.
just want to remind you that she did make that plea.
Yeah. Counselor Patton?
For me, I've been putting some thought into this and going back to I have some serious concerns and reservations regarding those block grants. I was on the council when this all came up originally, back when it was sort of the cat was let out of the bag that we actually rent that from the school. And I remember the city attorney at the time, who was not Joe, it was, no, I forgot.
John Kelly.
John Kelly had essentially said that if we left that building and did not either designate another facility in the city or build another building that would serve that sort of purpose, that we would have to pay all those block grants back. So I am 90% sure that that would be a thing. I also agree that we need to sort of look at that $500,000. And to me, when that $500,000 was offered up, it was for the building, to make the building acceptable to the adult center so that they would be able to run their operations through there. To me, those, even if the adult center leaves, that facility still needs to be updated. So if it becomes a community center, a youth center, or whatever, then that money needs to go towards making those updates. If we decide to do some sort of parting gift or whatever from them leaving the building for the years that they had used it, that's another thing. But I am pretty stuck on that money needs to go towards those updates to that building to make it acceptable. Regarding purchasing that school property, I agree that it with the change in leadership over there, it would be good to bring that back up. And I know that they are using that building for some school activities. And as this is an idea that just sort of popped into my head as we've been talking about this, it might sweeten the pot a little bit if we say, look, we know that you are currently using that building for certain things. We have no interest in leveling the building anytime soon, but we could maybe work into the agreement that classroom space or whatever that they would need to use in that building for those activities, they would still have the ability to do that. Whether it is at a very reduced rental fee or whether it is a set number of years at no cost or whatever for a certain amount of the building. But then the city would be able to use like the gymnasium facility and things like that for community activities.
So I guess I need a clarification piece that the school district uses the adult center?
No, the school district uses the building, the school building.
Oh, no, that I know, yes,
Yeah.
okay.
So I would be looking, if we're gonna
You're
talk
looking
about
at the
buying
whole-
the thing, I'd love to get the whole kit and caboodle.
Yep.
The school building.
Mark this date down, it's something we agree on.
Right, the school building, I doubt that they would give us the fields behind it because that goes to the other school. But like a strip from our park, like what, the 13th Street or whatever that park is there, I can't remember.
Legacy.
Legacy Park.
Okay, so-
all the way the street frontage to the building, and then the land that the adult center and the pool sits on. And buy that whole thing and say, hey, you guys aren't using it, you haven't been using it for years. We can make an agreement with you that, that you can still use that building for what you're doing for a set period of time, and see if that might be something they would be interested in.
Well, again, I'm trying to keep us in our box tonight with just talking about the.
Sorry, I might have
adults.
gotten a little ahead of myself.
No, you did, but that's okay, because many of us have been having that conversation now for
Yeah.
several years of the what could be if everyone came to the table and we had a conversation about it, because you and I were just talking about that today as well, so. So, yeah, no, I agree, there's still a lot of options, and I know that there's already been, I'd like to know from, primarily what are we held to by the block grants? And then what are our options so that we can sit here and start, discussion and visualizing what could be for that building. I mean, it could, if it's, the adult center piece is not in that building, does it become a teen center? Then that opens up a whole nother can of worms in terms of conversation and what does that look like if it's, Eileen shared that there's possibility is that office, training space or more office space for, the pool or whatever? Is there some way to tie that together in that regards? I don't know. Again, we need that big piece first of what is the block grant? What are we handcuffed to in that regards? But are there other detail pieces that we need to know or want to know? Yes, Councilor Stearns.
So first I want to know, of these block grants, I assume they were to build the center, right, that we're talking about?
That I think
Build
that
it, yes.
Yes, to build it. And so was that a perpetual restriction on those funds?
that's what we need to know.
And maybe that's a question for our esteemed legal counsel, whether those ever expire. So I think that piece of information needs to be known. Second thing, I, as a policy matter, am hesitant to just give large grants to organizations that are not the city, because that's supposed to be city funds for the city. So, if the $500,000 was for refurbishing the building, then I think that's what needs to stay there at the building, because otherwise what we're doing is we're picking and choosing our charities. Well, that's a good charity to choose, I think, but it's, there's lots to pick from, and then there's, we choose that one to give a $500,000 grant to, and not another nice worthy charity in town too. And I don't know if that's really something that we as a council need to be doing.
Well, if I can respond to that, just the purpose of the ARPA, I can't think of what ARPA stands for right now, but the council did make appropriations to various community agencies. So it wasn't just the Canby Adult Center. There was appropriations made to the utility board, the fire district, the fairgrounds. So those have all been made already. So just so you know, or are reminded. Yeah.
Councilor Sassy.
I agree, they probably shouldn't get the whole 500. Maybe half. Put 250,000 in the building. I don't know if we need to put a big commercial kitchen in that building, and we don't know what it's going to be. Maybe have it in reserve. I'd like to see Kathy get they do a lot for the community.
They do.
And let's not forget what we did for the Canby Center a few months ago. We really knocked them down a lot for their fees, so let's not forget that either.
Nope, that's a great point.
So.
Any other thoughts, questions that we want answered right now that staff can start planning and working on?
I guess the only thing I would add to that is, and I think just to make sure it's covered, is that if it turns out that the block grants are a thing, and if we decide to walk away from the building and say, here you go, school, now it's all you. If it turns out that we can't do that without paying a bunch of money back to the state or whoever it came from, what do we need to put back in that building to satisfy that money? Is it we work with the YMCA to turn it into a YMCA? Do we just say, hooray, we now have a community center and reserve whatever, that sort of thing. What do we have to call that building? What activities have to be in it in order to satisfy those grants?
It seems to me that that's the big question to get answered first, and then we'll have a whole bunch of subset questions depending on what we can do.
Yeah.
This feels like a series of work sessions to me.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a series of
It
work
will be.
sessions, so.
And I will say I'm super jazzed that the Adult Center has worked this out with the
Yep.
Methodist Church. I was
No,
a
it's
member of the
great.
church, and the kitchen facility is beautiful. What a lot of people might not know, and I love sharing this fact, is that all the ovens that are in that kitchen are Hasidic ovens. So they're made so that they can stay on 24 hours a day and not turn off automatically. That safety feature is out of them, because when we would do the pies there,
Yeah.
we would essentially bake pies from like 5 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night. And so they will be able to bake everything they want for as long as they want, and it won't be
Wow.
a problem.
Didn't know that, that's great. Okay. I mean, does that kind of at
That's
least give us
perfect.
first couple of steps?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. Then I will end our work session here this evening. We're going to take a quick break so that counselors and the mayor can get water, do what we need to do, and we will get going here shortly. Good evening, Canby. Welcome to the regular city council meeting for, August 7th of 2024. If you would please stand for, I think, the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. I got to get caught up on my agenda here. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so very much for this great community. Thank you for this great weather that we have had all summer long. It's hard to believe that summer is almost coming to an end. I ask for prayers for this community, for our first responders that have been dealing with so many different things, both on our police front and our fire front. Please protect them, keep them safe, bring them home every night to their families. Please look over our community and continue to bless our community the way that you have. And I ask this in your son's name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is new employee introductions. Eileen, we don't have any new employees.
We have several recruitments in progress, but no employee introductions.
Okay. Next up is the opportunity for citizen input and community announcements. If you are wishing to, or this is an opportunity for citizens to address the city council on non-agenda items or make announcements of events or things that may be going on in the community. If you are wishing to address the council, there's yellow cards back there behind Mr. Johnson on that podium. Please fill that out and bring that to our city recorder, and she will make sure that I get it. We will do our best to address the issue at hand during the meeting. If not, then I will work with the city administrator to find a resolution or answer to the question. If you are wanting to dial in and zoom in for citizen input, please reach out to our city recorder, or the assistant city recorder by 4 o'clock on the day of our city council meetings. So I have one card, and that is Mr. Johnson wants to talk to the council about remote work. Mr. Johnson.
Once again, I would forget what I wanted to say, so I do that. And I will read it. Okay. Good evening to all on the dais. COVID became an issue in the U.S. in 2020. Many businesses reorganized the pandemic by allowing employees to work from home. Office workers began to be called back to work in the fall of 2021 and on into 2023, but yet here we are. Canby City Hall allowing employees to work from home and continuing the hiring practice, posting for jobs that still contain the option of remote work a possibility. This is a job, not a vacation. People need to return to work. What did employees do prior to COVID? They adjusted their work schedule to fit the circumstance. It's time for employees to return to work at City Hall. They are public servants, after all, and get paid quite well. For those that do show up, thank you. You are asked to do your job and cover for those who aren't there to do theirs. Since the onset of COVID, we have increased the amount of administrative full-time employees from 52 in 2020 to 63 budgeted for 2025. Of that, the numbers at City Hall grew from 13 in 2020 to 18 for 2025. We should be asking ourselves, are those numbers going up because of mismanagement of the workplace, allowing employees to work remote with no accountability? You continue to add heads to office staff and ignore those boots on the ground that are required to show up every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Appreciate that. I know that this has been a conversation the council has been having, and I know that that is something that our city administrator is aware of and monitoring on a regular basis. So thank you. Maya, is there anyone via Zoom land that wants to make any comments? There's not. Okay, then we'll move into the consent agenda this evening.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda that includes the minutes of the July 17th, 2024 City Council regular meeting, the appointment of member Tina Schimpf to the Traffic Safety Commission with a term ending June 30th of 2026, the appointment of member Kathy Smith to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board of Members with a term ending June 30th, 2025, and the appointment of member James Riker to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board with term ending June 30th, 2027, and also the approval of the Distillery OLCC application for Archetype, I'm probably saying that wrong, located at 181 North Grant Street.
Great, thank you.
Oh, you get it? Okay.
And then Counselor Patton, you're the second?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, motion's been made by Council President Hensley and seconded by Councilor Patton to approve the consent agenda, which include the July 17th, 2024 regular city council meeting minutes, appointment of member Tina Schimpf to the Traffic Safety Commission with a term ending June 30th of 2026, appointment of member Kathy Smith to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee with a term ending June 30th of 2025, appointment of member James Riken to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee with a term ending June 30th of 2027, and then approval of the Distillery OLCC application for Archetype located at 181 North Grand Street. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That passes 5-0. Great, thank you. Moving into item 5, which is ordinances and resolutions. First up, item A, consider ordinance number 1627, an ordinance adopting the housing needs analysis as part of the City of Canby Comprehensive Plan. And it's second reading. So anything new, Dawn, Dawn, would you mind coming up here to the table? You're here.
Would you please come up to the table
I don't want to waste
to
your time,
say,
Don. I want to make sure you get up to the front here.
there's nothing going on? There's no,
Is there anything new from the last meeting that we need to be aware of?
No, everything that we spoke about, everything that we discussed is the same. We are still asking for your approval. This is an important milestone for the city. This will allow us to do the urban growth boundary expansion, including the residential acreage specifically. This is much like the economic opportunity analysis piece that was adopted before that. This is the other half of that. So highly encourage you to approve this. There's other housing elements that will be coming forth to the council as well. They're premised on housing needs analysis as well, but I would highly encourage a vote of approval tonight from the council members.
So those of you viewing at home and here in the audience, so yes, Canby's in the middle of redoing its comprehensive plan, and so this is a facet of that, and it really broke down what we are needing in terms of various housing needs over the next 10 to 20 years here in the city of Canby. So crucial that this part be approved, and we've spent a lot of time dialoguing about that need piece. So
Mr. Mayor?
yes.
I move to adopt ordinance number 1627, an ordinance adopting the housing needs analysis as part of the City of Canby Comprehensive Plan, TA 23-03, CPA 24-04, or 1, sorry.
Second.
Motion's been made by Council President Hensley and seconded by Councilor Davis to approve ordinance number 1627, an ordinance adopting the housing needs analysis as part of the City of Canby Comprehensive Plan, TA 23-03, /CPA 24-01. Roll call vote.
Counselor Patton?
Yes, or aye.
Counselor Davis?
Yes.
Counselor Stearns?
Yes.
Counselor Sassy?
Yes.
And Council President Hensley?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Thanks, Don.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Item B is consider ordinance number 1628, an ordinance authorizing city administrator to enter into the employment agreement with Captain Doug Kitzmiller for second reading. Eileen or
Kevin?
Kevin?
Yeah.
was gonna say, you need to call him up too, he's here.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. For the second reading, no changes to the employment agreement.
And this is basically, you're retiring.
From PERS.
Yes, okay, and it's a contract back with the city.
Yes,
Great.
the Hotel California deal. You can check out, but you can never leave. Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance number 1628, an ordinance authorizing the city administrator to enter into an employment agreement between the City of Canby and Captain Doug Kitzmiller.
Never a dull moment in the city council meeting. Motion's been made by Council President Hensley and seconded, was it you, Councilor Stearns? Oh, Councilor Sassy, to approve ordinance number 1628, an ordinance authorizing the city administrator to enter into the employment agreement with Captain Doug Kitzmiller. Roll call vote.
Counselor Patton?
Aye.
Counselor Davis?
Aye.
Counselor Stearns?
Aye.
Counselor Sassy?
Aye.
And Council President Hensley.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Doug. Next up, item C is ordinance, considering ordinance number 1629, an ordinance adopting the comprehensive plan, transportation system plan, and urban growth boundary scope of work and budget for fiscal year 24-25. Also a second reading.
We'll call back Dawn back up to the table.
Dawn, all right. Okay, Dawn.
This is the same information that you previously had at your last council meeting. Again, we encourage you to approve this tonight. This will allow us to continue our work on the comprehensive plan, transportation system plan, and urban growth boundary expansion work, which is a multi-year process. And maybe just a point of more information as this continues, we also submitted the grant, which you approved in your last council meeting for transportation growth management grant for ODOT, which would be the conceptual planning that would start next fiscal year. So that will soften some of the costs here. But for this fiscal year, we would encourage you to continue to approve this so we can continue our work going forward.
Okay.
Mr.
Thank you,
Mayor?
sir. Yes.
If I may, I'd like to move to adopt ordinance number 1629, an ordinance adopting the comprehensive plan, transportation system plan, and urban growth boundary expansion scope of work for fiscal year 24-25.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilor Patton and seconded by Councilor Sassy to considering approving ordinance number 1629, an ordinance adopting the comprehensive plan, transportation system plan, and the urban growth boundary scope of work and budget for fiscal year 24-25. Also a roll call vote.
Counselor Patton?
Aye.
Counselor Davis?
Aye.
Counselor Stearns?
Yes.
Counselor Sassy?
Aye.
And Council President Hensley.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Appreciate it. Next item, item D, consider resolution number 1418, a resolution adopting updates to the Clackamas County Multi-Jurisdictional Natural Hazards Mitigation Plan.
And Jamie's going to come up and present this.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Tonight before you, you have Resolution 1418, which is a resolution adopting the City of Canby's addendum to the Clackamas County Natural Hazards Mitigation Plan. This effort is a multi-jurisdictional effort, and it's overseen by the Oregon Department of Emergency Management, Oregon Partnership for Disaster Resilience, as well as the University of Oregon's Institute for Policy Research. And the last time that this plan was before council was in 2018. So this is just an update to that information. The National Hazard Mitigation Plan identifies natural hazards such as earthquakes and fires, as well as mitigation efforts processes that we could tap into, funding that would be available. So by having this plan up to date and approved by resolution, that means that should there be a natural disaster, which we all hope that there isn't, that we would be able to access funding or programming. And it also, provides jurisdictions with benefits that range from, reduced loss of life, loss of property, reduced costs associated with recovery and reconstruction, and then, as I said, the grant funding. The plan was reviewed by the Oregon Department of Emergency Management and FEMA and was pre-approved May 29th. So once this is adopted by resolution, should you choose to do so tonight, that will go back to them and be included and go into effect. And then as far as the outreach, there was a formal comment period which began March 6th of 2024. It was distributed by news releases, updates to the city website, and then direct emails to local agencies, local nonprofits like the Canby Center, for example, that has the ability to provide services to the community should there be a disaster. And then also other City of Canby departments. I worked with Chief Tro as well as Jerry Nelzine on these efforts, and we did our best to kind of reach far and wide to make sure that our community partners were aware of the plan and that the update was underway.
Great, thank you. Questions for Ms. Tickle on this? Yes, Councilor Stearns.
So you say there's an update of the previous plan. What are the changes or updates? Or do you know, they'll summarize them, or?
Yeah, most of it was just reassessing, the facilities. If something, like for instance, the City of Canby, the City Hall has received a generator and other buildings have received generators. So reassessing the facilities, not just that the City of Canby owns, but that are within the community that are able to serve in a natural disaster. One of the things we took into consideration, for example, was the multi-use building that's going to be at the Clackamas County Fairgrounds and Event Center. And then a lot of it was just, bringing information up to date, utilizing the comprehensive plan work that Don Hardy and his team has done, some of the mapping and those kinds of GIS mapping to make sure that all of the items are up to date. So if there's a disaster, you can pull this plan off the shelf, and that it had the most up-to-date information as far as 2020 or 2024 was concerned.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Davis, did you have something?
You ready for a motion?
I am. If you've no other questions for Ms. Tickle, then yes, so I can take a motion.
Okay, I move to adopt resolution number 1418, a resolution adopting the City of Canby representation in the updates to the Clackamas County Multi-Jurisdictional Natural Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Motion's been made by Councilor Davis, seconded by Councilor Sassy to approve resolution number 1418, a resolution adopting updates to the Clackamas County Multi-Jurisdictional Natural Hazards Mitigation Plan. Any further discussion or comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carries 5-0.
Great, thank you all.
Thanks, Jamie.
Next on the agenda is item 5E, Resolution 1419, a resolution adopting the budget, making appropriations, and imposing and categorizing taxes for the 2025 fiscal year. And this is actually a little bit of housekeeping cleanup from the budget process that Scott so eagerly ran to the podium to talk to us about. So Scott, you must be presenting.
I am.
Well, great. What
Good
do we got?
afternoon, or good evening, Mayor and Council. The resolution before you is, in short, something that the Oregon Department of Revenue requested. The bottom line to this is simply they would like to have the appropriations combined into one document just to be shown as one sum total. They gave us the option of basically having in the minutes for this amendment, the Councilor Sassy to abstain from the vote because there would be enough votes for it, so he would be able to just abstain from the entire piece of it, and it would still pass, and they would be fine with us having send the amended amount in as it's shown in this second adopted resolution, if you adopt the resolution. This is really just, like you said, housekeeping. So once we get this approved, there's no problems with our taxes that we sent into the county for collections. This is just basically Department of Revenue requesting in one document.
And we are not incurring any problems with the Department of Revenue with our budget adoption. Just
Correct, yeah. No, there's no problems with this whatsoever. This was in correlation with myself and with one other person at Department of Revenue, making sure that all of our i's and t's were crossed for this amendment.
Okay. Mr. Doofman, you have your hand up, sir.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So just two things. One, I wanted to, I guess, reiterate Scott's advice to have Councilor Sassy recuse himself from the vote and not vote, just to reiterate that, to make sure that's clear. And the second thing is I kind of want to take some responsibility for this. I was, talking with Eileen beforehand and kind of explaining how when these issues come up, our office has had consistent advice to do what we did. And it never would have occurred to me that having two resolutions instead of one would have been an issue. So to the extent that there's any frustration on the council's part, you can look to me for that. So I just wanted that to be clear. This is not a staff issue.
Well, I appreciate that, David, very much. Thank you. Any questions or comments on this at all? No, we're pretty clear that we're just doing some tidying up of that. So were you ready to make a motion, Jason? Is that what you were pointing for?
No, I can though, that's fine.
I wasn't calling you out, but.
No, that's good.
Jason, would you like to make a motion for?
I would love to.
Thank you.
I move to adopt resolution number 1418, a resolution adopting.
1419.
Oh, am I on the wrong page? Well, look at that. I'm doing my job and I'm sucking at it. So let me just get to 150. Bam. Okay, here we go. I move to adopt resolution number 1419, a resolution of the City of Canby amending and adopting the annual budget, making appropriations and imposing and categorizing taxes for the fiscal year 2025. I will just let you know, there are two thes in there. That's not on me.
Motion has been made by Counselor Patton, yes. If we want to call it, no, I'm just kidding. Counselor Patton, and seconded by Counselor Davis to approve resolution number 1419, a resolution adopting the budget, making appropriations, and imposing and categorizing taxes for the 2025 fiscal year. Any other questions or discussion at all tonight on this? No. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-01. Thank you. That concludes item 5, ordinances and resolutions. Item 6 is old business regarding the city attorney recruitment, which I don't think we have anything at this time on that. Okay. Next on the agenda is mayor's business. Couple of things. So Tuesday which was yesterday, was the chamber lunch. Reason I bring that up is because the August luncheon is usually one very well attended, and it's at the fairgrounds. So they spend a lot of time talking about the rodeo and the fair coming up 2 weeks. But the big thing that was really a highlight was, and Ms. Tickle was just talking about that, was the new building. So they are building, right now it's a gigantic tent. And so once the fair is over, that tent will be coming down and they're going to start breaking ground on their new building, which will be climate controlled. It'll have tremendous air scrubbers. It's going to be very much a top of the line building, with the intent that if, again, we go through a wildfire season that we had a couple years ago, that both livestock and if people need to, can be in the building at the same time. And so next year's fair will be a little bit of a challenge because they won't have that tent and the building won't be done yet. But it's going to be a huge undertaking, but a great project when it's done. And so, when you see that going on, now you're in the know of what's happening. So I want to thank the chamber for allowing the event center director, Brian Crow, to speak at the luncheon. He's done a great job, and there's been a lot of really great things that have transpired there at the event center. I had a tour today of the Canby Beer Library. There's been a tremendous amount of work done here in the last week or so on that project. Bryce Morrow gave me the tour and laid out, so the refrigerator, the extra large refrigerator is in, all the coils and things for cooling coils are all in and ready to go. They poured concrete for the bar. It's going to be like a polished concrete serving bar. They will be bringing in wine barrels and whatnot, which they'll be using for their aging process. So they're in conversation with Mr. Morrow today. They're hoping to be at a point where they will be able to be mostly open for Canby's big weekend. So when talking with him about just some of the hangups and things, a lot of it was the undergrounding. They have to, with the water and sewer and grease traps and all that stuff, it's taken a lot of time to cut into concrete and get those things laid. But yeah, there was about 15 guys on the work site today cranking things out. So I did talk to him about, they had ripped up the ADA apron right there on their corner, and he said that they will be pouring and building that to the new standard for that intersection, so we won't have to go back through later and hammer that out and redo it to meet the new state requirements for the ADA ramp. So good things to come on that. It's pretty exciting. Monday evening had a Region 1 Area Commission on Transportation meeting. A lot of that was a discussion on two big pieces. One was, again, continued conversation on the budget shortfalls for the Abernathy project, the 205 widening, and then the I-5 Rose Corridor project. So there was a lot of conversation about that, and that the legislature is going to be looking at again with tolling being paused. What is that going to mean for down the road, and what are those other sources be? And unfortunately, some of the funding they are pulling from future STIP, so state transportation improvement projects. So those are projects that have already been approved and funded, and they're going to be going back through and pulling funding from those projects, which will either postpone or eliminate those projects for a period of time to come up with the funding. And so that was a big crux of the conversation on that meeting. I will have a Clackamas County coordinating update at the next meeting, unless, were you able to attend, Council President Hensley?
I was not, I was
Okay,
preparing to
then-
leave town as well, I'm sorry.
Then that's okay. I will do
I was
that.
going to watch it, but I've only been home for a day and a half. Same as you.
And then earlier this month, in July, attended the Oregon Mayors Association Conference, and two big things to bring up or share with you all, with all the hot air that was going on in the room, was one, the conversation about the Supreme Court's ruling on the Grants Pass piece, so that will be circling back in some regards. And so we'll be looking at what that's going to look like. I think there's still some things to be worked out in regarding that. Am I correct, George? Yeah, so, but it was a big decision, but there's still some work that needs to be done. And I think it impacts Oregon differently than it does the rest of the country because of how the law was written here in Oregon. So there's still some things that we are going to be held to in regards to like the urban camping and things like that. So more to come on that. And then the other piece, which Alina and I talked about yesterday, was the park, I'm totally butchering the word, indemnity. So there was another ruling, so the case is
Recreational immunity.
recreational immunity, thank you, that's what it is. So there was a lawsuit of an individual sued the city of Newport because they were injured walking to the beach. And so they were suing the city of Newport for not maintaining the trail leading to the beach. And so they were claiming that recreational immunity did not apply because they were going to the recreation point that wasn't recreating. And so that's been ruled on and basically sent back to the lower courts and to the states, in our case, Oregon, to figure out, so there's an extension of the recreation immunity until the July 1st of 2025. So that's something the legislature will be looking at, and I think that's something that we will need to be watching and prepared to talk about what that's going to look like for us in Canby if that holds in place. So those were the two really big things I wanted to bring back and share from the mayor's conference. So it's Fair Week in 2 weeks. I know we have a meeting.
Next one on Monday.
Oh my gosh, is it next week?
Yes, it is.
I thought it was.
Next Monday, 13th.
I'm off a week,
Tuesday.
okay.
Yeah, Tuesday
We
the
don't have a
13th.
council meeting. That's the first time in a long time. So go to the fair.
We'll blame-
Have some funnel cake, eat some corn dogs. Yeah, we have 55 champions, cowboys, coming into town for the rodeo. So it's definitely going to be a very busy nights in Canby. So they were saying, come to the first couple nights, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, are the big nights for the big cowboys to be riding. So
Friday, Saturday already sold out.
Friday and Saturday are sold out. So it'll be a great event. So not only will you deal with 99E traffic, you'll deal with fair traffic as well. So we just want to make it a big adventure for everyone coming through Canby this summer. So that's all that I've got, and we will move into councilor comments and liaison reports. And I'm going to start with Councilor Sassy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Heritage and Landmark met, and we finally had a quorum.
Good.
So we got 5 months of meetings done. And then we talked about the camp training. For those out there that know, that's Commission Assistance Mentoring Program, and that was well attended. The reconnaissance level survey is finished, so that's done now. And we have a 7-member panel. We still need 3 people.
For this particular.
For this board, yes. So if we could get 3 more applicants, that'd be great. And that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Stearns.
I don't have anything to say this time.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, sir. Councilor Davis.
Okay, Park and Rec. The last meeting, we brought up about holding a work session with the Park and Rec Committee, and I just wondered how that's doing, if it's been scheduled yet. Eileen?
It has not been scheduled yet.
Okay, and
It has not.
I think it's going to be a good opportunity for the city council to meet with the Park and Rec Committee and talk about projects that are coming up and new projects that they would like council input on. The Maple Street Park, if you haven't been past Maple Street Park, the turf is going in. It's pretty much in the infields and stuff. They're doing a great job out there. So it's on schedule and looking really good. So it's a big improvement over at Maple Street Park. Legacy Park, the exercise equipment is going in. Should be done by the end of August to actually put the exercise equipment in. We are just waiting on a few glitches with the contractor, and then that's been taken care of, and Jerry's moving forward with that. And Auburn Farms is moving right along as well. The fire department, big announcement is that Matt Dale has signed his contract to start December the 16th as the new fire chief for Canby Fire District. I'm very proud of Matt. He's been my deputy, and when I got to Canby, he was a company officer, and so he's earned this position. Well qualified, and will do a fantastic job for the fire district. I will bring him here to introduce him, and so you guys can have the opportunity to meet Matt officially as the new fire chief. I do want to compliment Chief Churro in regards to the Touch a Truck that happened yesterday down here. It was fantastic. A lot of people, but Chief Churro helped organize that and bring together all the entities, including farm equipment and everything else. And we had a lot of kids that showed up for that. So good job, Chief Churro, in regards to organizing that. The fireworks, of course, was a complete success, and I'd like to also thank Gordon, who did some drone work there. And we're probably going to put that on our fireworks site on the Canby Fire District Facebook site. But it's well done as far as the drone work. So if people have missed it, you can go on there and actually see the drones work that Gordon did for the fireworks show. So compliments to Gordon. The Highway 99, I do want to compliment the contractor who's doing the work out there, and also the patience of people that have had to deal with Highway 99. But the contractor, every time we have approached him, that company with access problems for emergency services, they've made the changes very quickly, including as of yesterday, we had a lot of problems getting on to Highway 99 in Pine. We had some critical calls that we had to get to. I made a phone call, and they had flaggers there this morning. And so every time we approach that intersection now, they have flaggers that move the barriers and everything else for us to get across. So I can assure people the contractor has been working with emergency services, police and fire very well, and we have very seldom been delayed due to the Highway 99 construction. Good news too is with the fair starting on Pine Street will be done, and they've expedited that so that we can get across, which is going to be good for the fair. So Pine Street will be opened at the time of the fair. So that will help out quite a bit. So good job to the contractors. And I did have an opportunity to attend the Chamber Luncheon. Well attended, a lot of people that were there, probably the largest group I've seen attend the Chamber Luncheon. And Brian Crow is doing a fantastic job over there as the director. And I also attended the safety briefing for the fair last night, well organized by Brian, and incorporated all public safety as well as all the fair attendants, the vendors and things like that as far as safety for the fair. So we really encourage people to come to the fair and have a good time.
Great.
That's it.
Council President Hensley.
Thank you. I don't have a lot this time, but I also went to the Touch a Truck event. The National Night Out is actually what it was. Touch a Truck was the theme. So good job on that, Chief Schro. It was 100 hats, 100 little yellow hard hats that Rhonda got from the Public Works, put little stickers on them so they could, 100 of them, they were all gone, and then kids were still coming. So it was a very well-attended event. And it wasn't terribly hot, so we thank the good Lord for that. I also went to the Chamber Luncheon. A lot of things that have already been said, but I did want to also mention that Audrey and Robin, who have served the Chamber and our community for many, many years, are both separating from the Chamber and going on to other adventures. So I wanted to thank them for all their hard work and contributions to our community. And that is all I have at this time.
Great. Thank you very much. Councilor Patton.
So a few things. First, before I get in, I just want to say, I always appreciate citizens coming forward and sharing their thoughts. And I know that the hybrid work model that the city has is a lightning rod issue. But I just want to say that I strongly disagree that the employees that are taking advantage of the hybrid work model are using those days as vacation days. And I, quite frankly, am a bit offended on behalf of the city staff for that insinuation. But moving forward, I just want to say I'm bummed out that I missed the chamber luncheon. My work schedule has been a bit chaotic, so I usually try to attend those. I was actually in town, so I'm bummed out about that. I will also apologize to the community for not being at the meeting the other night. American Airlines decided that I was not going to be in the proper state of mind for such a thing. So it was best. I'm pretty squirrely and wild. Normally, it would have been a barn burner of a night if I had have actually chimed in. So I apologize for that. As far as liaison reports go, the Canby Utility Board continues to move on forward with the water treatment facility information and the plan and their progress with that project as people watch that in the community. And the Planning Commission, thank you for all of your hard work and moving the housing needs analysis forward to this group and really vetting that out. I greatly appreciate it, and I believe that all the Canby community and folks up here on the dais do as well. I also attended the Touch a Truck event. I don't want to add more work to the plate of the chief, but I think next year we could go bigger. I think I mentioned something about a combine. Maybe we can find a combine. I think someone mentioned food trucks. Possibly getting in some food trucks and stuff and really.
Touch a food truck, there we go.
Well, I mean, to actually be serving food. I mean, yes, like have a food truck,
Okay,
but that too. But yeah, so I think it'd be cool if we work to really, that was a really cool event. There was some tears. There was a little boy who came down out of a forklift and I think scrubbed his knee. And so hopefully, we don't get sued for that, but we'll see what happens.
We've got good insurance.
We do, yeah. There was Band-Aids galore. So, and then the last thing, as you know, I am on the Willamette Falls Landing Heritage Area Coalition. I had recently been appointed as the Projects and Programs Chair, which I had reported on. Well, apparently, because of that, they were like, you should also become a member of large of the executive board. So now I am currently a member of the coalition's executive board, and we're looking forward to moving forward with our legislation in the very near future to create the actual National Heritage Site. And so you will, as a council, be getting more information about that as they move forward with that, as will all upriver communities that are part of the what would become the heritage area. And so with that, that's that.
Great. Thank you. You had something as a follow-up?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, for
Councilor Davis.
allowing me to go back. I'd be remiss in just not mentioning the fact that everybody knows we've got a lot of dry weather out there. Today, we fought a 5-acre fire in the Canby Fire District, and we backed up Malala on a 20-acre fire endangering houses. And so, and we do have a fire up in the Malala River Basin up above Ripple Brook, which has caused emergency management to go into a level 2 activation. So not that it's out of control or anything else, but we do urge people to use extreme caution in regards to thinking about burning around their houses or anything else, discarding of cigarettes, anything that might start a fire, because they are moving very, very, very rapidly. So we'd appreciate people pay close attention, and if something does happen, please call 911 early. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Any other comments from council? No? Okay. We'll move into city administrator's business and reporting.
So I don't have much to report on tonight. I just wanted to also add my congratulations to Chief Tro for his idea and how the Touch a Truck event went last night. I would like to see that be an annual event, and I too heard how it could be added to. I heard helicopters, I heard.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it could get really big, and I do
You're moving
think
to the
the idea of, food trucks would be good.
If I may interject,
Yes.
the last time, and I won't name this person's name because they still live in Canby, and, but we did have a helicopter situation a number of years ago that ended up shredding a number of trees around the high school. So I don't think a helicopter would be the best idea, so.
On a trailer.
Okay, maybe on a trailer, but not flying
But
in.
not flying.
Yeah, this one decided to fly in and then fly out and shredded a number of trees. So I just expressed some safety concerns around that.
Well,
And real quick, Tyler
Yeah.
Wonder did a lot of work on this also.
Okay.
I was
Yes.
with him, And he ran with it, did a great job, and everybody that was there, I mean, really pitched in, so.
yes, thank
It
you.
wasn't just me.
Kudos to
Yeah,
Tyler as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
kudos to
So
Tyler.
I
Yeah.
apologize for my interruption.
No problem. We are taking feedback on that event, so if there is feedback, please let us know. So I did want to touch base on the fact that I know last night was the $5 night at the cinema, but it was National Night Out, and that is typically on a given night, and I think it's typically on a Tuesday night, the first Tuesday. Yeah, so that is just going to be a conflict with the cinema. So I thought it was great. I mean, there were people in the cinema, there were people here, there were people mingling all about, and I thought the more the merrier. So that was my take on it. So the other thing I wanted to touch base on, Councilor Patton, was just where are we at with scheduling another street maintenance task force?
Where we're at is I'm a slacker, and I need to get on that. So that's where we're at with that.
Okay,
It is on the list of things.
that's all I had.
Okay,
I almost forgot, if I may.
you may.
We have some members of Troop here, so I just wanted to say thank you all for coming out tonight and watching the levers of government work. You're always welcome back to see how all this process works, so thanks for coming out.
Well, generally, I make it a policy, my own personal policy, and I did not do that this evening, so thank you for bringing it up, is I generally ask a member of the troop that is here to come to the microphone and tell us, introduce yourself and who's with you tonight, and why you're here, so that, one, you are really uncomfortable, and two, the work on your public speaking skills. So does one of you young ladies want to come up here? Or both of you both can come up, make it a group effort. Good evening, ladies. So yes, what are your names and what troop are you with and what are you here working on tonight?
Hi, my name is Bethlehem, and I'm from Troop 5194.
Okay,
My name is Maddie, and I'm from Troop 5194.
perfect. And so you're here working on merit badges?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what merit badge are you guys working on tonight?
Communication.
Communication. Did we do okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, very good.
And you have plenty to go back and write about? Okay.
Awesome.
Well, perfect. Well, thank you for coming tonight, and thanks, Counselor Patton, for bringing that up. So,
Do you have any questions that haven't been answered that we could answer for you now? No?
No.
Hey,
Okay.
we've got all their questions
I
answered.
know.
Perfect.
Excellent. Thank you, ladies.
That's what now.
All right. Last opportunity for citizen input. Going once, twice, sold. Action review, Ms. Maya.
You've approved the consent agenda, adopted ordinance numbers 1627, 1628, and 1629, and approved resolution numbers 1418 and 1419.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We did we had an executive session and a work session this evening. It started at 6, and I'm not seeing anything else on our agenda for this evening, so I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Nay. I think we finished too early tonight, but it's all right.
Well,
You can stay if you want.
I might.
the yeas have it. We are adjourned. Canby, thank you very much. We will see you in 2 weeks.